Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy. I try to come on in here with a big rock, and you hear the music. I like to rock. I like to have a good time, and usually I'm coming in here being like, oh, hello. Let's cut the music. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Man, I picked a good week to start this. I was like, oh, I'll do these daily casts and everything like that. Can't wait to be talking about the stuff yesterday and/or trailer dropped. And you go check that out. And then today, I had some news topics, and you'll see we're going to talk about them. It was relatively, though, on the lighter side. And then this just fucking dropped. And we're going to get right into it because this is just such a mess. This is such a shitty kind of day from, as always, I like to point out, like a first world point of view, right? I hope everyone out there is happy and healthy and everything like that. Sorry, just sharing the links because I'm all alone. But we got a lot. If you see me looking down at my phone, it's going to be because I am looking at updates because this story is just breaking everything like that. You know what to do. I'll talk about the links a little bit later. Everything's down below. Best way to support us, best way to get casts like this, the daily cast, side quests, extra retrospectives, all that good jazz. Head over to Patreon. You get this show ad-free. You get things early. We just dropped the Better Halves, which is all our significant others, our girlfriends and wives podcasting together on Patreon, the Phase 2 tier. Get lots of perks over there, calling after 9, which I can't wait for after 9. And then, GV News will be happening later on this week, which I can't wait to talk to the boys about all this. So yeah. Links down below. Thank you for listening, as always. Thank you for watching. And chat, don't worry. I will address everything you say. And I can just start off with, Family Crisis bullshit. And then he has that Batgirl news from Emeritus Pickens with the facepalm emoji and the crying. You got me through work today. Just finished your first episode. Good episode. Thank you very much, Pickens. I appreciate that. I think this is going to be more of a venting, more of a cathartic type of episode because, man, this just fucking sucks. This sucks big time. So obviously people for the quick, rigmarole, Warner Brothers, last year got bought, and then I think it was a few. They've had, I think it's like 109 or 110s or something in the 100 mark of Warner Brothers Discovery has owned Warner Brothers, right? And this is like, we're seeing the new regime and everything like that. And we had a little taste of this a little while ago where you had the Wonder Twins canceled. Okay, it's Wonder Twins. No one really liked the idea. And S-Bubs saying 100% here. DC coming for Sony's bad decision crown. 100%. To me, it came out of nowhere. And I'm going to talk about all this stuff. So again, chat, if you say something, I will try to address you. Sometimes if it goes too far, send in a super chat because I'll definitely see that one. But if we get too far gone, I will try my best to set this up because I'll split the audio listeners here. But either way, to stop playing foreplay, Batgirl's canceled. As it says the topic, the headline, Batgirl is canceled. And you might be going, well, is that just the theatrical canceled? No, altogether. And you might be going, well, didn't they already shoot it all? The word is, and that's why I'm going to be looking at my phone for some information, Deadline had put out, I'm going to go over how this whole story broke. Deadline had put out that they were nearing final stages of post-production. So that means they had done the reshoots if they had any. They had done the original production, initial shooting, everything like that. And $70 million just gone the drain. Now, there's all these things as far as like, oh, well, COVID, there's so much going on, right? At first it came out the New York Post, which the New York Post is, they are reputable, but they've also had some really shitty, stories in the past where it's like, this is not real. Like Family Clay shared it in our podcast chat. They shared one not too long ago about Johnny Depp coming back to Pirates for $310 million. That was denied right away. This story wasn't denied right away. All in the game, does the cast and crew get paid? That's going to be the tough thing, that they definitely got paid, but the maybe getting paid if people had residuals or back-end points, it gets cut immensely. And we're going to get all into that. I have other topics that we're going to hit on, but this is going to take a bulk. I think this is going to be like an hour topic, to be honest. So it came out New York Post, and it's like, okay, let's see. They might just be trying to get some clicks. And I even said, this show is called Travis Told You. Well, there's no hashtag. Don't want that. But it's called Travis Told You, right? Here's a time where I can come in and say I was wrong, 100% wrong. But the reason I was so wrong, and recount just me talking to GeekVerse and the GA people and David Filching and a few other people, where it's just like, okay, we're talking this through, seeing what's going on. And then I was confident in throwing that hashtag out. You know why? Because I thought this just seems too dumb to be real. All right. It just seems like it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense at all of why you would have all these things. Because even we're getting into, even if you're going to reboot, I would buy, okay, we're not going to put it theatrical, but just put HBO Max. And I know we talked about, or I didn't talk about this, you guys, I was talking about this with somebody where, yes, there is marketing, but even then, just give it a light marketing routine and then throw it out on HBO Max. Just dump it, whatever. If that's the case, just dump it. Dump it there, dump it Netflix. Let us see this thing. Especially it sucks because the directors, they had Bad Boys for Life, which I actually wasn't the biggest fan of, but people love that. And they're like, I'm really excited for this Batgirl thing. And then Miss Marvel happened, and everyone was like, man, I really like, so many people, even people that are not big MCU fans, are like, I really like what they've done with Miss Marvel and the episodes they've directed. I can't wait to see Batgirl because they're directing that thing fully. Oh my God. We're going to get into all this stuff. But it's like, I can't wait to see this thing. But no. And that's the problem. So New York Post put it out, right? Oh, let's see here. Oh, I'm just reading a thing from Fanboy Clay. Oh, okay. We'll talk about it in a second. It's vital to this and to do with the Flash and stuff like that. So that's why I apologize. I will be reading stuff because the story's breaking right now. I even went half now. I could have went earlier, but I'm like, no, I'll give it a little bit of time to go live. But so much stuff is coming out. So either way, New York Post puts out, and then the Wrap reports it. But the Wrap also a few weeks ago put out like that Snyder thing where it's like, oh, they're all bots and all this stuff and everything like that. And yeah, speaking of bots, all we need is an army of bots, and we can get this movie made 100%. I can't wait to be a Batgirl bot. But I'm Travis Snell, by the way. I don't think I even introduced myself if you're new, but there you go. We do this all the time. I have a group of friends that we do this as well. We'll do GeekVerse news, and I can't wait to hear their opinions on this. My God. But so Rap puts it out, and Umberto, he was going to put it out, and he's somebody that he has sourcing, and he was right. He was right here, along with Grace Randolph. She got tipped off because originally that's the thing where even Grace Randolph, who's like she gets things right, but puts out, like, at one point she said Wonder Woman 2 was going to be a Flashpoint movie. You know, she's been wrong probably more times than she's been right, but she even tweeted, hey, this is untrue. And then like within half an hour, it's like, oh no, it's true. And that seemed to be the way going around the whole internet, that people are like, I don't think so. And then it's like, whoever is like the scooper to other people just started talking their sources and getting out and getting out and getting out. It went from a few people saying, hey, this is happening, to I don't think so, to oh no, it is. And that's why I had no problem saying it was not going to happen, because I don't understand it at all. So right now you have everyone reporting on this, right? We've heard, and I don't know if they're saying it's a collection of these things or one of these things, but the three biggest things, I'm going to probably list them off, and then we'll go one by one of why this is a bad idea. There's so much to get into. But so number one is what apparently is the thing that's been said almost in all of these articles, at least I've seen, is that Warner Brothers, oh my God, Warner Brothers Discovery, and this is Asloff, which I will say, and I'm not saying I miss the old regime as far as the guys that fucked over Snyder and Shuzohara and stuff like that, and Hamada. I definitely miss Jason Kilar. You know, he made that move of putting all the movies on HBO Max and stream at the same time. It's like, under his regime, we got the Batman, we got the Snyder Cut, we got these movies announced, and I was so down, and we'll get more into this too, I was so down for the multiple universe thing. I was down for, hey, the Flash being a soft reboot. I think there's things to save in this universe, but we'll get in that, because I think the reboot option is even more so on the table right now. Let's see. A minute after the story got posted, a caller from a rival studio exec who was floored by the move. Worked in this town for 3 decades, and this is some unprecedented shit right here. That comes from Justin Kroll. Thank you very much, Clay, for sharing that. Yeah, this is, I'll get back to the reasons, but I think we're all in shock, right? No one thinks this is a good idea. I think that, okay, not no one, sorry. Zazoff and his team apparently think it's a good idea, but I'd say us fans, as far as like, we'll put beside the first reason. One of the other reasons was, oh, the test screenings haven't been good, which lots of other scoopers, and I had seen this. I don't read all test screenings. I know some knowledge of some stuff, but I try to stay away from too spoiler things. Like even with the Flash, they had some recently, and me, Hines, and Claire talking about that. And there was a point where they're like, okay, cut me off. I don't want to know anymore. You know, but I still like know reactions and just see what's going on there, right? And I have a few other people say this, from what I had heard, like Batgirl stuff was pretty positive. And even like the kind of lower tier scoopers, but the scoopers that, you know, are in the game, hear these things about test screens, like, yeah, we've heard, I won't say, like, I would say nothing but positive. That makes it sound like this was the greatest DC movie of all time. No, it just sounds like it was relatively, you're getting your thumbs up, a passing grade, people are liking it, right? So apparently that's one reason of like, oh, the reshoots or sorry, the test screening just not that positive. But see, people are already kind of calling BS on that. They're kind of like, that's doesn't really seem like it's the main reason here. So back to the other thing is they're apparently Warner Bros. Discovery. They want DC films to just be tentpole movies. That they have to have a budget of like 90, which pretty much I would say take it as 100 million plus or more. They have to be event huge films. I just that to me is just some of the most narrow-minded thinking, and then Katie had a good quote here. She tweeted out, she hosts Star Wars Alliance with Clay, go check that out, and Slice Film on our podcast network. Just said like, you got to be fine as a company to make things that are just fine, and that is 100% true. And I guess I'm like that, but I'm in a different way, where I've said before, some of my biggest complaints about the MCU stuff in Phase 4, and I'm enjoying it, but has been how there's been so many world-ending events. There's multiple projects with world-ending events. We had that from Phase 1 to 3, but it felt a bit more sprinkled. And also when we just got Endgame, it's like, let's take a break from these small stories, so then when it gets big, we really feel that, instead of Eternals, where the world could blow up at any second. Now, here we go. So if every DC film from now on is just going to be a huge event film, I don't, not saying it can't work, because like I think it does depend how much they push out there, but you need these smaller projects. And yeah, not everyone loves them, but I still think like in the MCU, you need like an Ant-Man, to me, even you need Guardians. Guardians is like a smaller, like risk movie. And that just seems like apparently you're not going to get any of that. And I'm a huge Batman guy, right? I love Batman, but I hope it's just not, yeah, everything is just Batman. Everything is just like it had, because that's an event film, right? And it's interesting because we supposedly have Joker 2 coming, but here's the thing: I don't think anything is safe or not. Like, and that was what was this thing that Clay, you showed me here. So this was about the Flash. The decision comes after Warner Brothers is still contending with a lot to do with the Flash, a DC adaptation created specifically for a theatrical release that has been utterly hamstringed by repeated. Okay, so yeah, it's just they're trying to decide and everything like that, right? And it just to me does not make sense of, if you're going to have this idea of just event films, we're not going to see a lot. And that's where I do worry what I was going to. And I hate to say this for some people, but I believe that it's like, Blue Beetle is not we're might not going to see that. And here's the thing, and Hines will get into too, of like, give the cow can't give Cavill the money he wants, but are content to burn the 70 million. What the fuck is going on? Well, in my point of view, I think it's because they are, and I think other people agree with this, that now we're getting into like the full reboot. I think it's going to happen. I think especially because this was the quick hit segment, this was a minor topic I was going to discuss, where an article came out yesterday and was talking about, okay, a few things. They got their earners call on Thursday. I can't fucking wait. I can't wait to see like the actual reasons for, what they list as. And they're going to give some of these reasons, but just the way they kind of word and stuff like that. Interested to see that Thursday call for sure now, because wow, woof, what a game changer we just had. So you got that going on. With the if the reboot's going to happen, I guess they view it as they just want to wipe the slate clean as soon as possible and not even release Batgirl, or not even maybe release Blue Beetle, and that's where it's like, I can't. There was this expression, right, where we would say, hey, we'll believe it when it's filming. We can't even do that now with Warner Brothers. And I do like, I always joke about like Sony to me makes some bad decisions, Lucasfilm makes some bad decisions, Warner Brothers, and I feel like there's times where Warner Brothers makes some good ones. But even like the Batman 2, what if for some reason, I think it will happen, but what if for some reason Zaslav were to look at this, go, under 800 million for the Batman, 3 hours, I don't think I want to do this anymore, and there should just be one Batman movie. Like, it could easily happen. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful we got the Batman. Do I think it will? No, but I would like, this is one of these stories. I would not have thought Batgirl would have got canceled. So again, you can make the case like, hey, Batman, big stars, just came out and things like that. But if this guy and his team decides, you know what, we want a clean sweep and we want to start over and just have a new DCU, because, that's what I was getting to. In this thing, the article was saying that the earnings calls on Thursday, okay, they're still talking about a DC Chiefs and stuff like that. And then the other thing was that the quote was they want someone to come in like a Feige type, and whatever people have said, like they don't need a Kevin Feige. They do and they don't, but that's what they want. That's what so many people in the town want, right? But they wanted a Feige type that's going to re-energize the DC universe. And I have thought, and we've talked about this before, that maybe if he's met with people, right? Zaslav, like, hey, you want to run DC? You want to run DC? And they're all like, well, I want to reboot. I want to start over. I want to reboot. And he's like, no, maybe there was a way that this is happening, saying, oh, now we're going to reboot, so let's do everything. But at the same time, they're not, I would assume, not canceling Aquaman, not canceling Flash. Again, Aquaman is $1 billion film, but I just feel like it's going to be picky and choosy. I really don't know, because with Aquaman, it is $1 billion film. But if you reboot, if you start over, you got a clean slate. Because if they reboot, and I would have much rather, hey, we're rebooting and everything like that. Okay, we have Batgirl. It doesn't really fit with our plans right now. Well, could we reshoot some things? And I guess maybe their idea is just, that would cost too much to reshoot and change everything. And my God. And chat, like I said, I'll try and get to some of your questions here, because you got a lot popping off. But it's I really don't understand. And this isn't a good look. We talked about this in the podcast chat as well. So it's like from just a kind of subjectivity of, you have a female lead and a person of color who's leading a Batgirl project, which I feel like most people were excited for. I feel like majority, there's probably some crazy like Snyder cultists that weren't, but most people were excited for this and want to see. And I love the Barbara Gordon character. And it's like, even if it's semi-confusing of stuff going on, we're going to get somewhat of Batgirl film, right? And there's even stuff where, to go into the actual film now, and I was going to say, I won't go too spoilery. Doesn't even matter. This film's not even coming out. Not even on HBO Max. And actually, before I get to the actual film part, I guess this is kind of together. There was some sort of quote in the Wrap article where it's like, yes, but Warner Brothers would love to work with the stars and the directors again. Now, as we've seen, Hollywood's a crazy place. Anything can happen. Maybe they could work together, and people do come together after, disagreements and arguments and stuff. But with these directors who were just at Marvel, who seem pretty happy with their experience at Miss Marvel, to go over to Warner Brothers, you shoot, and I'm going to say, I don't know how long the film production was, but if you go over there and shoot, let's say it's at least 6 months to a year with shooting, post-production, and just the ideas, script writing, I guarantee you they've put a year's work into it, right? Probably more, and would have been more with marketing, everything, but obviously that's not happening because the film's canceled. You're going to tell me, and this is just me, I get that things kind of happen and stuff like that, and I think it's almost different than the Ezra Miller situation, right? Where they have made a bunch of choices, and you go back and forth where some might be true, some might not be true. Some things are alleged and everything like that. And All in the Game, I'm definitely getting in this too. Isn't there talk HBO Max going away and folding to Discovery? Yes. And there was a rumor going around that Discovery was going to get rid of this Warner Brothers Discovery, WBD was going to get rid of all scripted programming in HBO Max and just leave HBO as a channel. I don't understand this at all. As far as like this app's been building, it's known as one of the best apps as far as quality, and sure, you get the channel there, but it's just like, you're just gonna kill that momentum and just again, this is, sometimes you don't know. I'm trying to juggle because there's so much stuff, the chat, my phone's blowing up, things like that, but so I'm trying to stay on track. But the problem is, like, we're all excited of like a possible new regime, right? And that's always exciting, but that almost happened last time where it took over and like, here's the change that's going to happen. And then we got the Snyder Cut. And right after, for the people that love the Snyder Cut or want more, what happened? 2 days later, and it comes out, no, it's a cul-de-sac, it's not happening, blah, blah, blah. Like, just shitting on the movie while it's just not even been out for a week, right? And we're like, okay, this regime's clearly not the answer. So hopefully this crew is. I don't think it is, and I think it could be worse. Now here, like, I know Snyder Cut bros, ladies, fans, and whatnot are going to be mad at me. That article was not a good idea. I think it was bad, and I do think they should continue with new Snyderverse stuff. But if you're asking me of, like, did I still want to continue with that universe and still move forward? And, like, okay, like I said before, the Days of Future Past X-Men soft reboot, where it's like, okay, we're going to keep some things like a Momoa and Gal Gadot, but then we're going to create some new stuff. And we'll do these little things like Batgirl and Blue Beetle. And even then, they were doing the Batman and they're doing Joker and stuff like that. To now, if we're just going to maybe throw most of it away and just and I would even be fine if they put out Batgirl and it came out and whatever it did, made whatever it did, reviewed however it did. And then it's like, we're moving on. We're really like, and they could say, we're really unfortunate that, we had Leslie Grace here and all these things, and we're proud of the movie, but we want to go a new direction. Maybe we'll work together in the future on different projects, but for the best of the DC project, for the future, for the best of the DC universe, whatever they're going to call it, it's best for us to reboot. And it would be a bummer. I would still sit here and be like, this is probably not a good idea. I guess depending on what the box office would have been, right? But I would have been, oh, this is not a great idea. But at least I would have seen these movies. We would have seen these movies. The fact that we're just not going to at all, man, it's just a bummer. And it's a bummer for everybody involved as far as like, whatever you feel, you got... Michael Keaton coming back to play Batman is a huge deal. And now you took out his scenes of Aquaman. That's fine. It sounded like they were trying to make it make sense continuity-wise. And now the stuff he filmed for Batgirl, which apparently was only 5 scenes. And apparently he doesn't even train Barbara. He was just more of an inspiration. But still, you got Michael Keaton in the Batsuit on screen that you've paid money for. It's just thrown away. And now I really have to take in, because I was excited to see what we could do. I really just have to take in Keaton for the Flash, because I think that's it. Before, it was always like, oh, he's just doing the one, right? It's like, no, he's signed up for multiple pictures. Again, it's an option. Just because he's signed up for multiple pictures does not mean he will actually be starring or being in multiple pictures. So I really think that Flash will be it for him, and it's going to suck if they set up like a whole thing. Again, now I just wish, if Flash is just it for him, I wish they would have just done a Batman Beyond movie. I wish it was something, but again, who knows if it even would have been safe. I guess I was going to say, I would assume because it's Keaton starring Batman and with a new apprentice, it could be safe because it's a Batman IP. But as I was saying that, I just remember that Batgirl's a Batman IP. It's in Gotham. They even are putting Batman in there. They have Michael Keaton. And just like for the directors, man, like you got to work with, like they were excited about it. And imagine that you get to work with an icon that started this role on the big screen. Really, you had, Adam West, but like to the effect of creating that next big boom for comic book films in the 89, as far as like, man, Batmania was a thing, right? Everyone talks about that. You got to work with that. Oh my God, I can't even believe this. You got to work with that guy on your set. And if you're a fan, just imagine like someone you're a fan of, you're getting to direct them and create stories and like talk with them about dialogue and lines, everything like that. And you're like, man, I can't wait to put this out in the world. Like literally an achievement as far as, it's such a weird thing that you could be talking to somebody. Now, these guys are going to get lots of work. And like I said, I think S-Bub said, like, yeah, there's no chance to go back. I wouldn't. Everyone's different. But especially not even a movie, if you're talking to me, who would be, I don't even know who it would be, right? Because like I'm happy with all the endings of my characters. But let's just say for some reason I was directing a Marvel movie, right? And they're like, you're going to work with Hugh Jackman. He really wants to come back no matter what we're doing with that. And if I was just working with this legend, and it's like this guy who started this role, such a big icon, he was someone of my childhood that I absolutely love, man, what an honor it is. And that never to come out, and then just me be with my friends like, yeah, I directed Hugh Jackman in a Wolverine thing, but you're never gonna see it. Oh, like production problems, they did stop before it even started. No, we actually filmed the whole movie, how we casted it, we were editing it, and they just canceled it on me. And because it was really bad. Oh no, it's just not big enough. Like maybe they thought it was really bad, but that must suck too. And I hope it sucks because now we have new owners. I was gonna say, I hope someday we do see this. That's why I thought just even drop it on Max, drop everything in the new regime. And I've been saying that for weeks, right? Of reason they didn't have a big Comic-Con, reason they don't need to rush to get a big DC head is because they got film. They got films to release. They can coast until 2024 with Aquaman, Flash, Shazam, Black Adam, and then Blue Beetle and Batgirl. I thought, that gives you at least a 2024, even 2025, and then you could maybe even make a decision. But I think we know the decision we're going in. But I want to talk about more of it, but just to talk about the actual cast too, it's just like, I feel bad too for Leslie Grace. That sucks so much. It would have been so much better, in my opinion, if you get cast and the film doesn't happen. You'd always be like, I was this close, like Adam Brody when he's talking about Justice League Immortal, but that didn't happen. You fucking, You filmed, you read, you trained, you told, oh my God. And hopefully, I hope for some reason, if they do a Batgirl project, which I doubt they will because it's probably not an event film, the fact that you played Batgirl and you fucking acted and was directed, it was filmed, it was, soon to be good to go, and it's just gonna be somewhere shelved, sitting in an editing bay for no one ever to see. And to me, that's even worse than, I know some people will disagree, but that's worse than some of the Justice League stuff because luckily we got the happy ending of that story, right? But Momoa still went to go on to play Aquaman. Ezra still gets to go on and play Flash. Gal got to do another Wonder Woman. Ben stepped out. Ray Fisher, obviously, that's a big difference, but that's because he also had a personal issue. Not saying he was wrong, but he had a personal issue of calling out the studio and they were head to head, right? The fact that, oh man, she went to hospitals with suits, wearing that suit with people. Oh man. And that's what it kills her. And again, these are all first world issues. It's an idea that you'd rather be living, hope for families, good stuff like that. But just once you throw the really important stuff aside, when we're just talking about our fandom and like stuff that I'm sure she's passionate about, she's an actress. And not only is that could be a star making vehicle, like that's the thing that could suck. Leslie Grace could now go on to be in a bunch of stinkers or box office bombs where no one sees, and her career could be like nothing. Same way as Gal Gadot before, her career wasn't much. And I guarantee you, if Wonder Woman did not happen to Gal Gadot, and I think she's a better actress now than she was back then, but if that didn't happen, there's a good chance you still kind of know, oh yeah, Gal, she's in the Fast movies, right? Even if it's not even from a passion point of view, as a business person, you got to be fucking pissed because like this was a huge opportunity, and you took. I guarantee you, she did. What was the movie with Spielberg? West Side Story, right? I guarantee you, movie got nominated for Oscars. Whatever you feel about them, people in Hollywood love that shit. They love being, Academy Award directed, Academy Award nominee. You're in that, everything like that. I'm sure she got other offers for other movies, other shows, whatever, projects. And she went, no, I'm going to do Batgirl. And even if you're if you're somebody that wants to get back to doing more Oscar stuff or indie stuff, that is a good propelling thing to make you like Batista, right? He said now that he's done these bigger roles, he wants to go on and do, producing and directing, stuff like that. Being in a big franchise like that, it can absolutely propel you and get your stock up and make it so people want to work with you. You're a name. Even if you're not a great actor, actress, if you're a name, you're good to go. And it's just... Yeah, In the Heights. Thank you very much. That's the one, In the Heights. And still, yeah, get fucking part of another box office bomb. So you guys are right, where she was not a part of that big one because that was one where people looked at it as disappointing. So yeah, maybe it's a little less degree, but my point still stands of if you were to get Batgirl on hits, that's a star making vehicle, right? So, and even then, she probably still gave up projects that would have maybe at least come out. She got paid for this. She also going to get probably paid less depending on contracts and like residuals and back end points and all these still. So, and the other one that sucks, and we'll get back probably more to the business thing here, but Brendan Fraser, he's having a couple of years. He got Doom Patrol, but then he started pop up in things. He's going to be in The Whale, a Darren Aronofsky film that's going to get lots of buzz, whether it gets praise or just like who knows, because he's a controversial guy sometimes with the filmmaking, but that's going to be a big thing. He's going to TIFF. And the fact that he was going to be in this, so many people were excited as far as one Firefly, a fun like B villain, and Brendan Fraser kind of having this like Fraser-sance, right? Like that joke of reconnaissance, and every actor every once in a while has one of these. And it was just great. And now you think about these videos of them having, oh man, looks like my camera got unplugged. Well, hopefully you can still hear me. Give me a second. I will be right back here in a second. But the fact that, oh boy, good timing. But the fact that they did this whole like birthday celebration, everything like that, and obviously it still was real, still happened and stuff. We're back. It's just on a set of a movie never came out, and that's super disappointing. Apparently the idea was he was some sort of vet that couldn't get health insurance and was very broken. That's why he turned to a life of crime. So like even that hook of like something relatable and something you could do something with and maybe make a villain that's not just generic. And just seeing Brendan Fraser in that role, who has lately been great, like with these comeback roles, and just gone, just out of here. Not a thing. It's just not. And that's what sucks. It's not like before when the buyout happened and it was like, oh, well, maybe this could happen or this could happen. Now it's like, no, these guys just got them. It's the 100-day mark, 100-day plus mark, and this is what's happening. And I think now for the start of this regime, even with the reboot, this puts, and of course I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be excited now because I'll be there because of comic book stuff and I'm always pulling for DC, but this puts a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. Now, luckily, I guess there's probably a lot of general audience members that probably didn't even know there was a Batgirl movie coming out, right? But for your fans, your diehards, because you need the GA, but you also still need that hardcore audience to get excited, to tell people going, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? There's this coming up. I'm the person that tells my mom, oh, there's a Batgirl movie coming out. Now, if I ever said that, she's like, when's that movie coming out? Oh, it's not. It's not happening. Yeah, let's take our first ad break, and then we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So I'm just going to check about what's going on. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. If the idea was Batgirl wasn't theatrical enough, then Blue Beetle is fine. They filmed it knowing it's theatrical release. Canary could become a series. Let's see. I won't say anything safe. I know it was filmed that way, but I'm hoping for people, again, though, does that fall into, if they are going to reboot, right? And I'm going to have a whole conversation with the GeekVerse guys about this. As Superbad Mike says, it just makes me want to doubt all the news about DC movies now. And that's the thing, right? It creates uncertainty. And that's where, sure, Blue Beetle was filmed for theatrical stuff like that. It might happen, but what they just threw $70 million down the drain. Doesn't matter if Batgirl was filmed for theatrical or not. It's still $70 million. And I think it was up to $90 million with the COVID delays and stuff. It's like, they can't. That wasn't their fault, things. The Batman is $100 million movie. It was originally not $100 million, or sorry, was it? Yeah, it was $100 million, and then it went to $200 million. That's like an Avengers movie type thing. It was planned to be a smaller type of Batman movie, but because of COVID, that happened, and that's where it's like, man, the Batman 2, like even stuff like the Penguin show. If tomorrow, oh my God, if Thursday we get some sort of announcement right now that, hey, HBO Max is not happening, no more scripted TV, does the Penguin show still go to HBO channeled, or is it just gone? And that's the thing, are all these things just gone? And I echo a lot of the same sentiment that people are saying, like people thought Kalar was bad. It's like, sometimes it's that old expression of, it's sometimes go better with the devil you know than the devil you don't know. The devil you don't know. Man, I'm still kind of processing this all. It's a shitty thing. But as far as what we're talking about with the reboot, with Blue Beetle, you can look at it and go, okay, it was for theatrical. We already announced it's theatrical. We're going to put it out. Or are they going to look at it and go, you know what? This still doesn't fit into the plans. Yeah, we filmed this and everything, but we don't want to confuse people, and maybe is that it? Even then, like, if they do the whole reboot thing, right? And they're like, okay, we're rebooting DC. We're going to come on Comic-Con announce this. Are people going to be excited? Of course, lots of people would be excited just in general, but it's just like, imagine if you got Blue Beetle. Well, either both ways. If you got Blue Beetle and I was like, sorry, that's it. We're not doing anymore. No Blue Beetle 2. That doesn't fit in the plans. Or if you got Blue Beetle shelved like Batgirl. You've 2 films shelved. Why are people going to believe this? Now, the reason is they'd say, well, those were those people's films. These are our films. So this is why you can believe it. But still, people aren't going to get that excited. If Family Clay, what would cause Warner Bros. To say, fuck WB, if all the spinoffs get canceled? I don't think the spinoffs, because I think they'd give them some sort of fucking rigmarole of like, well, we're just going to a different era. It's new times. And, we want to just focus on reality TV show. Obviously, I think the Batman 2, like, that's dumb to say, right? But if the Batman 2 did get canceled or like really messed around with, and that's what I also believe too. Blue Beetle, same thing. I don't know if they've done reshoots. Blue Beetle, Batman, Aquaman, I think is probably safe, and Shazam, Black Adam are probably safe, right? Like coming out for what they are. Matt Reeves, supposedly what happened was he went to Warner Brothers. They didn't agree on the initial pitch. They brought him back and just said, okay, we're going to work with you. Let's do this. There's no saying Matt Reeves is going to get that. And what if, like, the whole thing about the Batman is it's a smaller scale Batman movie that's a detective film? What if they're like, oh, we love your Batman movie, but we want you to do for the sequel, we want you to fucking, like, 200, 300. We want him fighting, not just the Court of Owls, but Joker and Mr. Freeze. And what if that's it? What if it's actually like, hey, I'm not going to do the Joker yet. And he's like, no, we really want you to do the Joker because look at the box office. Like, that's not what my story is. The Batman 2 might happen, but it's this thing of like, it could really not happen without reason. Like, this does change everything. This turns the table because it's not only the whole, hey, it's the old regime of movies. It's just, this is such a big throwaway as far as the money. They've showed that they're willing to just flip the script if they want. And if Matt Reeves is, hopefully they look at, for myself and other people, they look at the Batman and look at the success and they go, you know what, that was good enough. Let's not touch that. We like that we inherited this thing. Unlike Batgirl, let's continue on with it. Blue Beetle, if you were to ask me, is it going to get axed? I don't know, because so many people are saying like, well, it was supposed to be for theaters now, so it's probably fine. It was filmed like it was for theaters, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, to me, if you were to put them on paper, because Batgirl could be theatrical tomorrow. You switch it over and just like, look, it's in theaters. Even if it was filmed differently, they could still put it in theaters and get the money, right? To me, if you look at Batgirl and you look at Blue Beetle, you have Blue Beetle, who is a new character that I still feel is not that popular among the GA. I guarantee you walk up to 10 people and you say, who's Blue Beetle? Maybe one of them could tell you specifically, oh, they won't say a car or something. They're like, oh, it's from, DC and it's this origin story and there's a couple of Blue Beetles. I really don't think so. So you have Blue Beetle, like here's doing the ticket thing, just if you're looking at the numbers wise, right? There's Blue Beetle. I think there's Susan Sarandon in it. There's a couple stars, but not big stars like a Michael Keaton or even like a Brendan Fraser, who's like making a comeback. J.K. Simmons, I'd say, is like a bigger star than what Blue Beetle has. So just a star like worthy. Put them on a poster. Batgirl, 1 point for her. Character knowledge, Batgirl, another point for her. And then just the overall, the scope of the general audience's whereabouts for Blue Beetle. Like I said, do they know this character? No. Do they know Batgirl? Oh, yeah. Do they know Batman? Yeah. Oh, do you know this Batman's played by Michael Keaton? Oh, he's played Batman before, and he's also going to be in Flash again. What if oh my God, what if Flash comes out and it's $1 billion film? What if it's the biggest? What if it passes No Way Home? All these things. What if it's just a big hit, right? You could literally go, well, we got a Michael Keaton Batman movie, and apparently he was only in 5 scenes, and, it was more of an inspiration thing than a training thing. But still, you film scenes. He was hired. He got paid. He filmed scenes of, and I got Michael Keaton's Batman's like footage just sitting somewhere, never gonna be seen. As someone that is a Michael Keaton Batman fan, that absolutely sucks. Like, and I feel like that's no matter if you like the characters. I know Clay's in the chat, and like he doesn't like, but I think even what Clay would understand of like, dude, for it to get announced and you now not see it, that sucks. The same way for me, I like Blue Beetle, but if the Blue Beetle film gets canceled, I'd be like, man, I'm already bummed because I want to see it, but it would just be like, man, that just is awful that you got announced as a fan and it's just sitting somewhere, man, I just can't believe that this is happening. Let's see. So anyways, what I was saying is Flash, let's say it comes out, makes $1 billion. You could have went, well, we got another film that has Michael Keaton's Batman in it ready to go. Especially, which this is why I think they're full bunch of bullshit. Tons of the rumors from last week's Flash screenings where lots of people are saying Keaton kills it. Keaton got most of the applause. They loved him. Either way, people sound like it was a good move to bring him back. He's doing great, right? So you have a film where it's like, even if you were to reboot, it's like, well, we could make more money by putting out Batgirl, whether it's on HBO Max or the theaters, and just previewing Keaton. It's like, you liked Keaton in Flash? Here we go. The same. Oh my God. And that's why, yeah, they do need to hire someone like a Feige, because it's the same fucking thing you could have done that MCU did with Iron Man and Civil War and Spider-Man, and then you put them into Homecoming, right? When they're saying Keaton has about 5 scenes, someone could let me know in the chat, like the actual number, but I feel like he has about 5 scenes in Homecoming, right? He saves the boat once. He's talking to Peter on the phone. There's the end where he tries to give him the suit. There's him with the car. I think they phone each other one more time, but Happy's most that guy, right? I would say it's no greater than 10. And Downey was all over that marketing to the point where myself and other people were like, man, are they going to make this a Iron Man and Spider-Man movie? It's like, no, we want a Spider-Man movie. But no, it was like a good fun trick for the general audience to make like a bunch of, money and hey, Iron Man is in the Spider-Man movie. Great. You could have done the same thing. That's what I don't get as a businessman. You could have done the same thing with Keaton. Let's say Flash comes out, kills it. People love it, making tons of money. People want more Michael Keaton. Well, guess what? We already got more Michael Keaton filmed. So in a year, 6 months, we're going to throw out this Batgirl, and Michael Keaton, he's going to be all over these fucking posters. He's going to be all over the trailers. People are going to, even if he's in the movie for 5 minutes, they're going to know he's in here, tune in to show him. Like, tune in, like, show up, tune in, and then we got their money, and then 6 months from now, go, you know what, we really like that Batgirl thing, but we want to go a new direction, so reboot. You could have made your, I guarantee, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. And chat, give me a yay or a nay for this question. Do you think with a 90 million budget, and let's say let's balloon it, let's go 180. Do you think Batgirl theatrically would have made more than 180? I personally do, with the star power, with it being to Gotham, with it being, what was I going to say? You got Keaton there. There's something else, but even 100 million, like 180, I don't think that's a big jump. I don't think, oh, PG-13. That's what I was going to say. It's PG-13. So chat, let me know, the people that are watching, do you think it would have made more than 180? Because if it would have made 180, and that's saying the budget is, you know, get a balloon to double the marketing, which they could even deny later. I think it could at least hit 200 million. You could have made a profit on this. I think you could have with Batgirl. If you, again, if Flash hits it big time, I think it easily makes a profit, you know? And this is what Esposito says earlier as far as the point to, you know, Sony's doing it better. Now, Sony chopped the shit out of Morbius, but they still put Michael Keaton in trailers to try and get people in there and curious. Now, Morbius wasn't a big box office win, but still just like, it's an idea just to do with what you got. And with Blue Beetle, it doesn't have that. Let's see. Esposito is a yay. Jay is a tough one. I don't know. I think it has a small chance. Yeah, it says Jay. Fanboy Clay says, yes, I do the resurgence of Fraser. Batman Attached, Batgirl would have made 300 plus. I think that would have been a good baseline. I think 300 to 400 million. Now, granted, if it is the truth where they looked at it and they're like, oh, these are awful test screenings, maybe, but I'm not believing that with the people that are talking. And now Blue Beetle, everything is, even everything as far as Black Adam may come out, and you know, this whole joke about the hierarchy is about to change, but man, I don't know. I'm saying it's going to come out. Don't get me wrong. I just mean The Rock playing Black Adam again. I don't know if that's going to actually happen. And I don't know if the Superman thing's going to happen, because I mean, I don't think Black Adam's going to do the greatest. I think Black Adam has a bad release date as far as being in the fall. I think it's surrounded by a lot of stuff. And if it kind of underperforms, that's easily gone too. And I guarantee you, I know people maybe hate when I say this, but I think The Rock really regrets not going with DC or with Marvel. In my opinion, he had like hinted, it was like, oh, I'm meeting with Feige and stuff. I'd love to work with them. He did Superpets, which, you know, didn't pan out to be the greatest. It's his company producing it as far as like the box office. And then if he's a one and done with Black Adam after all this time, man, the future of DC is totally in flux. Even Shazam is like, and I don't care about Shazam that much because I think the first one, is like a MCU light. Like I think it's them trying to do the MCU, but it's not well. I don't think Shazam Fear the Gods is going to do good. It's probably going to do less than the first one with the release date, and I just don't see the hype for it. So the fact that perform, like, you could have a lot of changes. Let's see. Jay Howland, what is your prediction for Blue Beetle release, box office wise? Let's see. All in Game says, I see it doing more than Shazam numbers with a sequel if we receive well, doing much better. I don't see any, like, I see a possibility, but like, All in the Game, you sound so sure, like, oh, I see this. I don't know what I see. I don't even know if I see this movie. Like, we don't even know if we're gonna get Blue Beetle now. I don't know. I was gonna say I think you will if you put a gun to my head. I don't know, actually. You got rid of Batgirl with Keaton. For now, I'm just gonna say, I guess it's just, do they deem it same thing? Do they look at it as like a profit wise? I'm gonna say we're not gonna see it. That's what I'm gonna say, and I want to be wrong. And I'm literally like a 5150 or a 5149. But yeah, Matty Six, I don't see it doing very well. Not a well-known character. The trailer would need to be a blowaway for the GA. Put George Lopez in the movie if it comes out. It makes a 250. It all depends release-wise, because like Shazam Fear the Gods. Now, I don't know if it would do the greatest in general, but it would still do greatest if you took in, let's say you put Shazam in March, Aquaman in May, Shazam in March, Aquaman in June, and then put July and November. I think giving it a better date would happen. So I'm not going to trust them with giving it a good date. Fucking, they could announce episode 10 for Star Wars, and Zazoff and DC might be like, that's a good day for Blue Beetle. You know, like, I don't see the idea of it. I know Christmas, you get a lot of stuff, but let's see. I don't see it doing much better than Shazam's worldwide gross. Okay, that's all the game is referring to, being so sure. Yeah, I think, because all Shazam, someone put in the chat, what was its final, what was it dancing around, like 400 million or something like that? Like, I don't even think it got to 500 million. I think Shazam is a good gauge for how it could do. I would say less than Shazam, though. I really would, unless it's a banger trailer. The same way, like Maddie Six says, like, it has to blow away the GA. And that happens all the time, right? Where sometimes just a small surprise movie comes out. Obviously, it's DC, so it's not small, but it just happens. But I don't know. Jay Hound says, with how little DC movies are coming out, with the mass amount of Marvel movies coming out, I feel like DC movies are always going to get stuck in the middle of two big Marvel movies all the time. They are, and I guess so what? But here's the thing, even like Kraven comes out in January. Not that that's a big one. And then Ant-Man in February. They're putting Aquaman at March, so still just do Shazam at March. But that's the problem, that they've never had their house in order, so they're just playing catch up, right? And it just feels like now I feel like they're always going to be second fiddle. And I know people are going to be like, it's not a competition, it's not second fiddle. And I don't mean by that. I just mean that I want them to run like a well-oiled machine. I don't want things like this to happen. I want them to have like a great run. And it always seems like they're getting there, and then some shit happens. And this is the new shit that happens. And now with Blue Beetle, I think we'll get a word, not that it means anything, but I think they will talk about it Thursday. But I don't know if, because some calls, sometimes it's just they sit there, they read out the results, and that's it. And then some calls, they let people talk. I don't know. So let's see. On the game says Shazam did a 366 million worldwide from an 80 to 100 budget. Yeah, I think the 350 is about right, you know. So, oh yeah, I don't know, and that's why, yeah, people, and that's the other thing. People are talking about, if Blue Beetle gets canceled, you got Batgirl, you have people that have said like you could be canceling a bunch of people of color movies, which is not a good look either. That's like, why are these the ones, you know? Let's see. Someone, this was Frost, if I spoke to people that saw Batgirl and said it was a huge disappointment. Also, the costumes look cheap, especially Keaton's Batman costume. I figure Warner Bros. Would dump it on Max, and it looks like we'll never see it. And that's the interesting thing, where it's like, you have people that are saying the reverse, where it's like, no, I've heard nothing but good things. And then you had like Frosty. I'm not saying that like, oh, because Frosty said it was bad, I'm saying that he said he heard from people that it was a disappointment. And even then, I agree with him. Just dump it on Max then. I guarantee you the HBO crossover thing to Discovery, if that is happening, is not going to be like in a day. Even if it's confusing, just fucking release it. Just say, they could just literally do the canon of, hey, this is Keaton and there's a Batgirl in his universe. That's it. Watch this movie. You know, it's just, I don't know, super weird. Yeah, I think honestly I'm going to give it a few more days. I'm going to talk about this with the GV crew. I think probably our main topic on the GV newscast is going to be talking about the reboot in general, because I could talk about that, but I definitely want to talk about that with the guys, and just in general, like, what could it mean in the future? Because now we're one film down. You know, we have Shazam, Black Adam, Aquaman, The Flash, maybe Blue Beetle. I'm going to say maybe Blue Beetle. I can't commit to that actually happening. Jay Howden, it sucks so much. I love DC. Or it sucks, man. I love DC so much. I wish they had their shit together all this time. It's just a mess. It's a shame for us fans. And it is. It really is. Because it's just like, obviously I'm biased because I'm a Batman fan, but I was happy that Blue Beetle got announced. And the costume looked fantastic. It's like, great. Let's do that. Like, I am that fan that, yes, I will watch and consume all the Batman content, but I also want all the other content. I want the Blue Beetle content. I want, even a Shazam, like, I want that, even though I'm not like loving the trailers, I want them to do that. I don't want to just be the tent poles. And maybe that's it too, because it doesn't speak for everybody, but I think for myself and a lot of listeners and other podcast hosts, when you just hear just the tent poles, that is just your bigger heroes. That is just Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, which is a great, you know, I do want another Superman. I do want another Wonder Woman, but to have all these other characters maybe sidelined, and now it's just like, what happened with these Batgirl Nightwing rumors? You know, like, like, is that a thing anymore? Well, obviously it's not, but I mean, like, just that idea the idea of getting a Batgirl, and I've said before, like I wanted that as far as I want more Bat Family stuff. As a Batman fan, to go back to that route, I want more Batman content as far as we have so many characters and so much of the world we still haven't explored villains. That Batgirl was a great place to look into that, where it's like, okay, we got Batgirl, who we haven't seen Barbara. We haven't seen even Barbara Gordon live action. We got Barbara Pennyworth. Haven't seen that. And we got Firefly, who's like, great, a B villain. Like, let's do this. And it's just, even as a Batman fan who like does get a lot of content, it's just a big suck. Espo says there are much worse theatrical release DC movies, so I don't think the test screen reactions are the problem. I don't either. I don't buy that as like this was the smoking gun. Oh, they came back like they fucking released Suicide Squad 2016. And now whatever you thought about that, everything has come about like what a troubled production. They released Justice League, and I don't even really call it that because I feel like if I call it that, I'm like a part of like some group that I like show like I'm support Snyder and I like the Zack Snyder Justice League, but I'm not like fully in the camp of like I've been waving the flag since day one, so I don't want to say like, yeah, I've been here the whole time. But Chris Balga, I guess I'm the former Marvel Alliance host. I need some water because as you can see, the heat's building up. I'm getting fired up. The talking. Ugh. Zazoff is a shrewd businessman. He can definitely make a statement with this. It not meet the threshold of a good investment. Yeah, and that's what we've heard, right? Is that he's a number guy he wants to save. So I guess the idea as well, I and my company don't think this is a good idea. We already spent 70, 90 million on it. Let's don't spend any more. And not even to get anything. Not even HBO Max. Not even HBO channel. It's weird, man. It's a weird... I really don't get it. It's going to be something I'm still processing for a while. And now with these characters, what I was talking about before, like a Barbara or, a Dick Grayson, stuff like that, I feel like it's going to be now years again before we get that. And again, sure, I'll wait and hopefully it'll happen, but it's just going to be years before we get anywhere close to a semblance of, man, we're getting Batgirl and we're getting Nightwing and we're getting all these side characters that we've not even explored yet, and maybe just get the Batman, which I love, but I also want the other stuff too. Yeah, it's just, I echo a lot of the chat. I don't know how much more there is to say. I'll probably scroll through my phone right now just to make sure there's not been any other updates. But, that's where I was going with the Justice League in 2017. Obviously, it's a different era, right? So I guess he wouldn't have done that, I guess. But, we had a film where the opening of that shot of Justice League 2017 is Henry Cavill was terrible, stashed, CGI'd off. And it's like, how did you release this? I guess Zazoff is the reverse, where if he's not happy, he doesn't release it, and this is like semi to the equivalent, not exactly, but how Solo, they were halfway through production, stopped and then reshot it. It was expensive, but I guess maybe he looks at that too. He's like, well, I don't want to redo that. I don't want to reshoot it. I don't want to release it. I just want to wipe my hands clean with it. And unfortunately, we're on the other end of that as far as, we just don't get to see it, and even then, there's another thing when I was talking about back to Katie's post as far as every fine movie someone loves. There's a movie that you probably think is the worst that is in someone's top 10. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, S-Bubs. I love you. One day GeekVerse will hire you as our official man in the chair. But like the Teen Beach movie or whatever it is, right? You love that. I've never seen that. I guarantee if I watched that, I probably wouldn't enjoy it. This like teeny like family channel sort of thing. But you absolutely fucking love it. And that's great. I don't think there's anyone in the world, speaking of Brendan Fraser, that loves Bedazzled. I fucking love Bedazzled with Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley. There's always these movies that are just a 6, 7 out of 10, maybe even a 5 out of 10, but you or someone loves. And the fact that they even thought, nah, it's not even worth to put out that way, it's such a bummer all around. And let's see, HBO Green Lantern show, oof, probably not. I do, like I said, I think, cheap plug, tune in Thursday. We'll talk about this on news with Geek First because I think I want to get everyone's opinion and ideas. But I do think, I guess to end this off, I will speak a little bit on it. I do think the reboot thing is going to happen. I don't know. I guess it just, you look at The Flash as maybe like a send off to the Snyderverse in that world. And it's funny because people always thought, oh, it's going to get rid of the Snyderverse and move on with a new universe. I was like, well, yes and no. Before the idea was, well, it'll reboot it and create a new timeline, but it'll have some of the same elements. Now this could just be, no, this will actually end it. Like, not in the way you think. And now the people that went, this is awful, they're going to change things. We're going to have Supergirl and Superman, blah, 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 blah. At least you would have had ties to the Snyder universe. And now, well, you're getting what you want. And you know what? Some people do want the reboot. And there is something, again, even me on the podcast, there is something fun about a reboot. There is something fun, like we're gonna start from scratch, be done with it, and let's, who is the new Batman, new Superman, new Justice League, all this sort of stuff. That will be a fun era, but it's just kind of how we got there. It's just, it's. I don't know. I don't know how to compare. I'm trying to think of an analogy as far as I was trying to think of something with dating and dating a new person, and then like it's a bumpy road, but once you start dating that person, it's good. Like if you're dating somebody that's, always kind of, I don't know. Friday, Thursday, I'm gonna have this analogy down set. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm working on something in my brain, but I need to be off air when I figure it out. But let's see if I got anything more. But the reboot. Sure, that stuff's all good, but the problem is you're always going to have in the back of your mind. And okay, here's maybe a bit of an analogy. I've kind of figured it out. Let's say you start dating a person, right? And maybe it's semi-serious, whatever it is. And let's say they cheat on you or do something, and maybe you take them back. And you're like, okay, and it's good now. You're together, you're married, you're doing all this stuff, and you're having a life. And that would be the reboot stuff. You're getting new movies now, it's new directors, new cast, and it's all exciting. But there's always in the back of your mind that, man, they cheated on me once. And that's what you're going to be thinking about with, to me, is Azoff and them, that you're going to remember that time where Batgirl just got cut, gone. And you'll always worry, like, are these going to happen? Now, it's because the new regime's happening, and I think it will be the case, but what's Kirklin Patson say? Where is it being released if not theatrically nor HBO Max? Pirate Bay exclusive. # Batgirl. Kirklin making an appearance on my Twitter. And yeah, I guess I feel like we're gonna Blue Beetle will be next. We're gonna be in reboot mode. The Flash movie is literally probably going to be a goodbye to the DCEU. Have Marvel and DC movie end with the DCU destroy, and that's when we get the reboot. That would be great, but yeah, I don't think Feige would even go anywhere near them with this. And yeah, I don't know. It's so funny how we went from last week, and who knows? Maybe this is a him call too. Alan Horn, right? He got brought back. Everyone's like, great executive, has a plan. I don't think it is, but there could have even been a chance where he looked at the slate and said, yeah, get rid of this. You don't need this. Like, I don't think it's good for the company business. So it's just so funny. From like a week ago, we went from, man, Alan Horn's a savior, it's happening, to shit. Batgirl's gone. Now, I guess the best case scenario, the reboot, and that's what we'll talk about on the news Thursday, like the reboot or not, that depends who you ask, right? Because that's where, and this we'll get more into, that's why I want to talk about like Momoa, Gal Gadot. Are they just happy? Maybe Gal Gadot is fine to be done Wonder Woman. Maybe Aquaman, same thing. Maybe Momoa, same thing. It's like, I'll do second one. I don't need to do more. I'm a bigger star. I can keep going over there. So if the best case scenario is this is it. The reboot or not, that depends on what side of the coin you're on. But with the slate that we have now, we hope that we get it, and we at least get Blue Beetle, and then we figure it out after. But now, even with them still talking about, like, in that headline of, like, it sounds, because the Flash is, I guess, technically got announced as theatrical, that they feel like they're just kind of committed to it. So that to me is, yeah, I always thought Ezra was going to be done. So I don't think they will be around much longer. But just that universe, like Sasha Calle, the same thing. Is she a one and done as Supergirl? Happens. See you later. We're rebooting. We got a new Superman over here. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a sad day. I'm happy that the chat and I could vent a little bit. I will go up a little bit, see if I missed anything in particular, but the bar's pretty high. So thank you to everybody. That's, I think, most of the stuff I've kind of covered here, and varying points and everything like that. Yeah, so we'll see. I will be here. That's why if you're watching live, 3 p.m. I will be, unless the call goes a little longer, but on Thursday. And I'm not done. I still got other topics to talk about here. That last minute too, if you're in the chat, if you have anything to add, a question on the Batgirl and HBO and Warner Bros. Thing, add that in now, because I'll probably transition into some other things. But Thursday, I think the call is, I think it's 3:30 Eastern. I think it is. No, I think it's 4:30 Eastern, because I think it's 1:30 our time. So I'll be here on Thursday to break that down. Who knows if they just kind of pussyfoot around and don't say anything and then just leave it as like, oh yeah, well, that's just a decision we made, but we're going forward. But now it's going to be very interesting of what they say on Thursday, who that new DC chief is, and then two, just more developments and more scoops and whatnot in the future, and I guess it is sending a message for the future and what Warner Brothers Discovery, I always forget the Discovery part, is going to be, I guess, with Zaslav. Did not think I'd be talking about this today. Really did not think I'd be talking about this. I'm quite surprised. Still haven't really processed it yet. Like I said, I'll give the timeline just a little scroll and everything like that, and just see if there's anything else that has developed. But I think that's everything. Decided to cancel. Yeah, they're committed to making DC titles big theatrical events. Yeah, and like I said, I just can't wait to see what happens. Oh, and Scoob was canceled. There you go. Scoob was canceled, the sequel to that. So we're not getting that. My kids actually will be disappointed by that. So there's another big bummer. But alas, that's happening. So the best branch of Warner Brothers is now making Multiverse. There you go. That's all sum it up. But yeah, thank you everyone being in the chat. If anything else breaks on Batgirl, I will talk about it and be back and everything. But I'm still gonna go. So we'll take an ad break and we'll transition to the other side as far as Marvel. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So let's talk about some rumors that have been out there for, I guess, Giancarlo Esposito. He's been out there for a while now, right? And I always say this is what we do in GeekVerse. We have some fun. We cover rumors and everything like that, stories that may or may not be true, like Batgirl we just did. And obviously that was ending up being true, unfortunately. There is this new scooper, and it's the one yesterday when I was talking about My Time to Shine, and they were tweeting out the whole Punisher thing, which is actually picking up a bit more steam, so that's kind of funny. But they're picking up a lot of steam as far as that story. But now they've been sharing someone recently of, can we get some toast? Now, this is stupid and this is dumb, but they're sharing their scoops. So I want to talk about this because I had seen someone else cover this and they ended up being the source to toast people. But I was like, I don't know if I believe this. And this is where, we can talk about this and see that it was Giancarlo has met with Marvel for multiple roles. And let's see, this is the exact tweet. I've heard rumblings that Giancarlo has met with Marvel to discuss a couple roles, one of them being Doom. Giancarlo's been rumored for years, right? That's why I had him on my superhero draft, because he's always rumored for comic book stuff, and I would believe it. He's been rumored for Xavier, Magneto, Doom lots of times. And I will actually bring up what you can do on Patreon is you can either join the live chat or you can bring up questions before we go live with the newscast. We send in the topics and you can join Patreon any tier and send in topics questions right before that. All in the game says, please stop casting Giancarlo as the villain, which I agree with and I'll get to. I think Maddie's bringing up a similar thing. Esposito keeps getting typecasted in villain roles for a good reason. He's a great actor. However, I'd be a little disappointed if the rumor is true. For Doom, I'm hoping they cast someone a little less obvious who isn't on everyone's radar. Maddie, 100% I agree. And I agree with All in the Game where I like the Xavier pick better of this rumor of that. I don't know if that's going to... I think those rumors actually were pretty disapproving because the super wasn't that greatest. But I think it's similar to Mads Mikkelsen. It's similar to Javier Bardem where they came out, you had Javier in No Country for Old Men. You had Mads in Casino Royale, but then I think also Hannibal helped as well. And then you had Giancarlo in Breaking Bad, have just been cast in villains time and time again. It keeps happening, right? It is to me kind of a boring pick. And I also don't know. The rumor is that they don't want to introduce. Let's see. The Espo says, oh, this is good. I haven't heard this. The conspiracy now is that Toast is My Time to Shine because she retweets them a millisecond after they post. So I want to know, why would she create another account? I'm down for that theory. Chris Balga, I'm down with him being I'm down with Giancarlo being Giancarlo. I'm down with Giancarlo being Professor X. Yeah, I think that's a good one. That flips it on its head. And he could play with Xavier sometimes is a little shady. Is a little, hey, do we trust this guy? He's making maybe the wrong moves. Giancarlo can play that part. But why would you have an account? Why not just use the scoops for your own? But I could believe that because I think other people have done that in the past before that are kind of like a burner account. But let's see here. My thing was Doom is supposedly not going to be introduced in the Fantastic Four, right? There's rumors Black Panther, there's rumors elsewhere where he might just be a main overall MCU villain. Does he ever become a main Fantastic Four film? I don't know. So that has a lot with how the direction I would go. Because if he's tied to the Fantastic Four at all, the rumors is they're supposed to be 20 and 30 somethings, right? If you're going to have Reed and Victor have this relationship, and yes, of course, you can change it, adapt it, but the idea is they're usually around the same age. So either they're not adapting that or they're doing a very different take on the relationship there. So, which I don't actually know if I want that. I don't want like Victor to be like a mentor to him and then there's some turn. I don't know. I don't think we need to go down that route. And I think just with it being so specific, I don't know if I believe it. And it's strange as far as, I get you want to work with an actor. And Giancarlo's great. So I guess what? The meeting would go, Mohamed Khaled, some people still talking about Batgirl. Hello, I'm so sad. And then Caleb Richardson, I've been calling for Greg Berlanti to run the new Rumor DC Studios, which is currently being a spin-off of Warner Brothers in its own vertical. Yeah, it is. I just don't know if they tap Berlanti, but I guess we'll see. But back to Giancarlo, we always heard that story about, and Muhammad, yes, I am sad about Batgirl. You can go back for the first hour, that's all I talked about was Batgirl. So now I'm into some other topics here, but you can go back. I think I'm with everyone else pretty down and out on that news, and it does not bode well for the future of my excitement there. But with this, we heard that story of Ali sits down, hey, I want to play Blade. Yeah, sure, you can play Blade, and then they talk about it and everything like that. I think and Giancarlo did play play the Far Cry villain. I'm pretty sure he's reached his max villain status. I agree. I just find it odd. I guess maybe Giancarlo's the guy they would bring in and say, hey, these roles are open. What do you want? Because he is a great actor. I guess I almost wouldn't like that because I would feel, hey, you should look at Giancarlo and go, we have the role for him. We want him to play this guy. I don't know. And S-Bubs, to continue with that theory chasing, could be using to support less reliable scoops so main account has a better track record. 100%. And I was going to agree. I was going to say the times that I have seen people do that is when that. I remember back to Umberto, how we started with Batgirl. He used to do that with Heroic Hollywood, where it's like anything he wouldn't publish on the Wrap and couldn't get in source, but he's hearing about it. Boom, it goes over to the Wrap and everything like that. So, or go over to Heroic Hollywood. So, and even Daniel RPK, though, he will at least say, hey, this is kind of something I'm reporting to. This is a heavy rumor I've heard. So I could believe that. I would find it weird to have Faida be a lack of vision where we're speaking about multiple roles. You could be anyone, because does he have a back burner for everybody? There's just something about I don't see, and I don't want it either. I'd rather him be X or something else. I think that'd be fun as get him for X and then try and find Magneto. Not saying it's going to be Tom Hanks, but for Magneto, try and find something that's been generally associated with good guy roles. And that would be a fun flip. But if he's Doom, sure, I would like it because at least it's a good... Okay, here's the thing. Would I like it overall? I'm actually torn because I was going to say no, but I do. I couldn't look at Giancarlo as Doom and say this is bad casting. I would just think it's kind of safe casting, and I don't want them to be exactly safe. I want them to go out there and find somebody a bit more unique for the role, a bit more that's going to put their stamp on it. And as far as Giancarlo could, but it's going to be similar to some other villains and what he played Moff Gideon too recently. So I could see it. I think it will happen. He has dropped in many interviews of like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I always love that universe, and I know there's something there for me. I think they've already talked. It sounds very similar to, remember when Patrick Stewart, like a few years before Doctor Strange, was like, oh, we talked, me and Feige, but nothing really came of it. Now, obviously, something came from that. I do think they have talked, and that could be a reason for why he is playing Doom, that they talked years ago, and they've just been like, hey, sit tight, you're going to be Doom, just wait. Just wait, it's going to happen. Like I said, is it a fine choice? Yes. Is it a safe choice? Also, yes. Those two can be the same. And I would still give him the benefit of the doubt thing. Like, you know what? Maybe he can still get something unique performance. Because I don't think Moff Gideon and what's his name? Gus are the exact same character, but there is similarities, of course, when you have an actor playing a villain character in charge. So we'll see. Do you ask me if it's a BS meter? I'm like a 50-50 on it. I do believe they've met. I don't know for several roles, but we'll see, because I feel like with Black Panther, that's going to be happening. It's going to happen there, and it's going to be happening soon. The question is it like Thanos and it's a stand-in, or do we actually have an actor cast? I don't know. I don't know. And who I want, I think Xavier. Like I said, if you ask me out of anybody, that is a really good pick. I really like Xavier. I think he could bring, because there's times when, like, speaking of Breaking Bad, when he's Gus and he's trying to be a good person and win you over, and when he's playing the fake like Gus Fring doing charity, all this stuff, he makes you love him. He makes you want to root for him, and then you go, oh no, he's a vile piece of shit when he's doing this stuff, killing kids. But when he's being Gus Fring, the public image who runs Los Pozos, like, yeah, I could see him being a caring Xavier, and that's the fan cast. Whenever I hear him, like, man, that's the one I really want. That's the one that should happen. So, Doom is a safe place. We'll see. Superbad Mike says if they cast him as Doom and cast younger Sue Storm, could get weird, and that's why I think if that were to happen, Superbad Mike, they would not do the dynamic of them potentially dating. It would be completely swapped up as like a father-daughter relationship or something like that. I think if they're younger and he's older, huge change to what they would do as a story and stuff like that. So, well, we will see. Sticking in that Marvel universe, Werewolf by Night. There's some details going around right now, which I found kind of interesting. They are saying that it's on purpose, and this is the same one, so it might be My Time to Shine, could be the Toast thing. It's on purpose made to be very campy. Let me read the actual quotes here. Yeah, as Bubs. Bryan Cranston as Magneto, Giancarlo as Xavier. Yeah. See, swap them. Even then, I guess Bryan Cranston kind of became a bad guy at the end of Breaking Bad, so it's kind of that same route. But yeah, it's I would not be a fan of that. As Breaking Bad, I think is probably the greatest thing on TV and television. Would not be a fan of that one. But here were the exact words, and this is why this is on this docket, because I could believe one thing. Another thing I could believe, but the fact that it's out there is kind of odd. Let's see here. So, saw some stuff for the Marvel Halloween special. Werewolf by Midnight is very, very capitalized. Camp. It's cheap looking, old school, and it's all done intentionally. I can see some people liking it for those reasons, but it definitely won't be for everyone. Also, the Werewolf by Night suit is awful. If you're expecting CGI badass werewolf, expect 1985 Teen Wolf instead. Let's see. Can the MCU just do dark and gritty all the way through for once? I don't. I would say no, but that's because it's not their brand. That would be like asking a comedian to go on stage and say, "Don't make a joke the whole time." Now, I agree with you that I think that they could pull it back. That's why I actually think things like Black Panther, where there is jokes, but I feel like there was never jokes that took me out of it. I felt like the humor worked. I think there's ones that use the humor a lot better than some others. But is there going to be one with absolutely no joke? No, because there's even fucking Nolan's Batman movies have that. Snyder's movies have jokes. Like, they all have jokes and stuff like that. You know, I don't think they could ever just do all dark and gritty because that's just not their brand. You know, I get what you're saying. Even Logan has jokes, you know, like there's always going to be some sense. It's just like a balance of how well did they do that. I think some do that better than others, but it's Werewolf by Midnight or Werewolf by Night special. I always add the midnight. The camp stuff, actually all of this I don't mind because I don't know how well I feel. I don't know if I need Werewolf by Night being a huge main player in the MCU. And to me, if he is looking very Teen Wolf and it's like a practical, cheap looking costume, that means this might be a thing just purely for Disney Plus and not have anything to do with actual continuity of the show, anything like that. Just have a fun Marvel spin-off going on. Espo says, the scoop made me ever more excited for Werewolf by Night. If those rumors are true, I'll defend Werewolf by Night like a Snyder fan. And I agree. Like, I don't know about I'm that whole thing of intentionally campy, cheesy. I'm all for that. That sounds great. Much like the Sam Raimi Multiverse Madness. Like, I'm all for that stuff, especially if it's just a Disney Plus special. That's the way to do it. I think I'm just more like if you have this Teen Wolf looking motherfucker in the MCU and he like joins our guys and gals. I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want it to be completely played for jokes that way. It would be an adjustment. And it'd be something Deadpool would definitely call out, but I love the idea. I love the idea of the short specials already. So I agree the plots made me very excited. If you do a thing where, hey, this guy's playing Werewolf by Night in the special, and then in the future you're going to get like a CGI'd really cool Werewolf by Night in Midnight Suns or something like that, cool, do that. But if it's the Teen Wolf guy, I'm not excited by that, but I'm excited by the actual campiness and cheesiness. That all works for me. So 2 thumbs up right there. all in the game to continue his point. Says, obviously, you can have a handful of jokes, but why camp? He's supposed to be a potential Midnight Suns member with Elsa Bloodstone. Well, here's the thing, though, all in the game. We don't know. This special could just be a special. What if it is like what Spider-Man freshman year, right, was pitched as a Spider-Man prequel. Now it's not. What if it's that to the MCU, where you could see Werewolf by Night in the MCU, but just not this version? This is going to be something completely different, something a little fun, something for Halloween. Like I'm fine with that. If it is Teen Wolf, and I'm honestly fine. I'm fine at the camp in the MCU too if it's in a little thing, because technically Deadpool's going to be not camp, but it's going to have some very good cheesy stuff, like stuff where it's like in the MCU before, you're like, oh, how could we be doing this? But here we are because it's Deadpool. So I think we'll have to see. It's interesting if they'll probably talk about D23, but it's interesting to see if it's in the slate or if it's like the animated stuff where, oh, it's in our slate, but it's like not in the main slate, So we'll see. Isn't it supposed to be a movie with MCU, like a homage to Thriller? I think the homage to Thriller is right. A movie, yeah, like a short movie. It says that, but again, freshman year, pitched as a Spider-Man prequel, right? And now they're fucking doing this whole rigmarole of, oh, it is a Spider-Man prequel, just in another world. What if it wasn't Tony Stark? What if it was Norman Osborn? Yeah, that's where it's like, okay, sure, it's a prequel to some Spider-Man, so that could be this, right? It could be another what-if situation where it's Werewolf by Night somewhere else in a cheesy, campy universe, and that's what we're doing, and I'm down with it. Like, I want to see what it is, but yeah, if it's in the MCU and this is the guy that's supposed to jump over, I might have questions, but they also made my fucking boy, Mr. Knight, a super joke box, right? And that happens. So maybe they could, like, we're going to take this really fun, cheesy slant with Werewolf by Night. Here we go. And the fans will be mad. And like I was mad with Mr. Knight. But alas, Moon Knight's happened. And that's that, right? But another rumor that this person put out that, just as a quick hit, Ben Reilly will be in Spider-Verse. I don't think this is a... Oh, man. As I'm getting the Batgirl updates, one of the Batgirl directors just got married yesterday, too. Oh, my God. That is just awful. Just shit news all around. Anyways, this is to me a no-brainer. Ben Reilly in there. Let's see, back to the Werewolf. I mean, like, it would be a movie that some characters in the MCU go see. Oh, really? I see. That's a fucking fun idea. Now, you're going to get the shit like Lightyear. So I'm like, I don't know how to watch this. What does this mean? Even Lightyear 2, to be honest, was like Spider-Man freshman year where they said, this is about the real Buzz. And then a year later, like, well, this is about the movie that Andy watched. So eventually you get over that. I still wish it was about like the real Buzz. But either way, that's a great idea. You could do the film, put it on Disney Plus, and then like in a movie, have them watching it. That's awesome. I really like that idea. So I hope it's true. Anyways, the Spider-Verse stuff about Ben Reilly, this one I believe 100%. I wouldn't see why not. I think they're going to add, they're doing part 1 and part 2. They said they were doing shows, but that hasn't really materialized. So I'm going to take it as they're going to do part 1 and part 2 of Across the Multiverse and Spider-Verse or whatever it is. All these fucking titles. And I don't think it's like that's it, but like I could see that being it for a little bit. Like I could see them making the 2 parts and being done, and I do think they're going to go ham. I think you're going to see a lot of the animated Spider-Man. Ben Reilly makes sense. I hope it's just not the reason this is getting tweeted out. I hope it's because he has a role and not just he's there somewhere in the background. I'll still take that, but next to Peter Parker, my favorite is Ben Reilly. It's a weird character, but that's why I like it. This guy thinks he's Peter Parker, but really finds out he's a clone. I liked the 8th Day back in the day. Not a good movie, but I'm just saying I like the cloning idea and clone concept. I love that. One of the reasons I bleached my hair a few years ago and did that for Halloween and rocked bleach hair the whole 2 years because I love that look. I love the hoodie look, everything about it, and I love the story. There's some crazy stuff. It's not the greatest, but I'm a big fan of the Clone Saga. I love the Clone Saga. That's all up there for me. So I believe this one. I think it's going to happen. So yeah, Espop says, if that's the case, give me some fake movie trailers for MCU movies. Got to have a Kingo trailer. Absolutely. That'd be a great idea. And I would take all those. The same way as like when they have it's Spider-Man and Far From Home when he's on the plane. There's all the like those documentaries of the MCU stuff. I'd watch those. I wish they made ones like that. I wish Miss Marvel had a YouTube channel. Like the fact that they never did that, I don't know. It's a bummer. But Yeah, so let's see the next topic here. So I just always looking for more updates in case anything happened, but I think we're I think Warner Brothers is piped down for a little bit. Well, back to Warner Brothers. Super Pets. Let's take our last ad break and then we'll talk about Super Pets. So we'll be right back. Super Pets. All right. So I'm not going to do spoilers because you don't really. Okay, I will do spoilers at the very end, but it's because you don't really need it. It's funny we're talking about Warner Brothers, talking about a movie that's like disappointing, actually disappointing. Saw it with the kids. They liked it. I was excited for it because it's something to see with the kids. You got the DC world. I think it's a fine movie. I think it's one of these things where if you got animation, right, and you got the S tier where it's like Pixar and some other ones that have been out there. And I'm not talking about the quality of animation. I think the quality of animation is fine. I like the styles. There's some design choices that you're like, I don't know about that. But nonetheless, I enjoyed what they look, the colors, and it doesn't look like cheap animation. But for the quality of the story, the jokes, the writing, there's like your S tier, your A tier. I would say like just even Pixar has some of those A tier ones, where it's like, this is just not as good as your other stuff. And then there's kind of like that B tier. That's definitely where I throw this in. It's a cute movie. If you have kids, you'll enjoy it. If you don't have kids, I don't think it's like, which is funny because he wrote both of them, but Lego Batman to me is I didn't see when I had kids. I'm a Batman guy, so I guess it's a cheat, but I could recommend that to an adult, and I think they'd enjoy it if they've ever liked Batman, I think they'd enjoy that movie. Now, if you don't, then I really don't know. But if with Super Pets, like I said, he wrote both. You don't really have that with this. Now, it's not a movie that if we need to watch again in the future with my kids, I'm like, oh, Super Pets, fuck, like, why are we watching this? No, that's not going to be the case for me. I'll be happy to watch it again, but with the jokes and it's very cookie cutter. It's very, you've seen it before. There's not much. There's some fun Easter eggs for the adults, but there's not much there. I don't think it's like Lego Batman where you're always constantly catching things or little references. There's one that Emily actually caught and I didn't, where they're talking about disguises between Krypto and Superman. He's like, I'm wearing glasses. He's like, well, if you had a mustache, that'd be better. Didn't even catch that if it was like a Henry Cavill Easter egg, which I imagine it was. So maybe there's a few that I didn't catch, but for actual like jokes, I know it's a kids movie, but there's still stuff like I laughed a few times at Minions. Like I had a good time with it. I could genuinely laugh. Like this is a funny joke. Laughed at Lightyear. I don't know if I had that with Super Pets. Pickens says I like Batman, but I've never seen Lego Batman. You gotta change that. Have to change that. Even if you think it's like a kiddie movie, there's just so many fun things to do with Easter eggs and with character kind of shout outs to different movies. Even the story, as far as like Batman getting a sidekick with Robin, it's a nice, sweet little story. And they actually touch upon real stuff like Batman having commitment issues and pushing people away and going back to his parents. Like it has the jokes, it has the Easter eggs, but then it's actually a good Batman story. So check it out. It's really underrated. But this one, I don't think you need to check out Pickens. I think if you have kids one day, or if you have kids and you're wondering, it's a good watch with them. There's some cute things, but yeah, there's nothing as an adult humor wise. It was like, I won't say bottom of the barrel stuff, but just kind of middle barrel. Just like, okay, seen this joke before. Okay, it's fine. It's, it's nothing that I can see why it's doing the box office it is, because I don't think parents would. The kids are going to see it, and then there's stuff that breaks out like a Minions where it's like, oh, you got to see this. Obviously, that had a brand before, right? But I'm talking about like the original ones. Any film was like, hey, you got to go see this. You got to go watch Super Pets. I don't think people are going to be doing that. People are, or like, and I'll say the post credits. One is bold that The Rock is pretty much, I'll just say, promoting Black Adam shamelessly. It's like, okay, this is you're gonna take one more shot, right? And it's just funny because not many people are seeing this as a very small box office right now. And then the other one sets up a sequel. It sets up a sequel that is just, I was kind of surprised. Even I was expecting like a bigger character reveal or something, and not for the fact that like it's Super Pets. It has to be like live action. No, it's just kind of like a, oh, okay, that's fine. Like it's all fine. It's all just kind of there. It's not outrageously bad, but it's not very, very good either. It is disappointing in the fact that I wanted to like it a little bit more, but there's some fun dialogue between some of the characters. if I were to give this a rating, I'd give like a 6 or I think like maybe like a 5 or 6 out of 10. I'd have to watch it again, see how I feel, because I was expecting a little bit more. I thought it'd be a little bit more funny, or a little bit more um charm to it in a way, but I still think it's charming enough. I like Crypto as a character. He's like a fun little Coley with Superman and stuff like that. But yeah, it's I think they could have done a lot more. I will appreciate that you get lots of the Justice League. Now there's times where they're gone, but a lot more as far as they just didn't use them for the beginning of the film, then they're gone. If they were to do with the actual plot, I like that they're using different ones and everything like that. So Espos did say this. Yeah, The Rock posted the Black Adam scene from Superpets on Instagram, basically spoiling the movie to promote Black Adam. Yeah, he didn't care. He's like, oh, the box office, this didn't do good, so I'm going to just show this and get ready for Black Adam. And man, especially with that Batgirl news, I cannot wait to see what the Black Adam box office does. These are the times where, like, as like a fun like fan analyst, like I be like, it doesn't matter about box office. For quality, absolutely not. Like what you like. For business, very, very interested to see what Black Adam does for Warner Brothers and what that means for the future. So, Super Pets, fine movie. If you're wondering if you should see, if you're in the case where, hey, I want to see it with my kids, but we pick and choose and stuff. My kids, from their perspective, seem like they enjoyed it. They liked it. They had a good time. They seem checked in the whole time, so it wasn't one of those. Sometimes you tell, this is not for them, or if they fall asleep, they've liked other things more. Seemed like they enjoyed it. They like superhero stuff like me, so they watched. Like, it was a fun thing when Gwen, the Green Lantern in this movie, is Jessica Cruz, and she's the Green Lantern in the DC Supergirls thing. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, look, that's the one. So watching stuff with kids is always better, and that's why, yeah, any enjoyable stuff I had was with them. But for myself as a viewing, nothing. I can see why, like I said, people aren't rushing out to recommend this, because it just feels like, it's another kids movie, but with, I would say, better animation than some, and the DC guys ran it with. There's some fun references and things like that, but nothing that I think breaks the mold like a Lego Batman, or obviously like a Spider-Verse or anything like that. But yeah, I did have in the notes that I was going to talk about WWE Raw. I'm not going to today because the Batgirl thing happened. I was not expecting, I can definitely still go 2 hours in the future, but I am going to be podcasting later, wink, wink. So my goal is to kind of keep this at an hour and a half, unless there's bigger ones. So before Batgirl, I had it mapped up being an hour and a half, but I will talk about, I'm going to talk about Raw in the future and just the changes and everything like that with wrestling and stuff. And all I'll say is Triple H put on a very, very good show. So if I don't get to, let's say a bunch of news happens again tomorrow, Triple H did a very, very good show, and I'm very happy about the direction it's going. It's more wrestling centric. It felt like it actually made sense. We had stories that I cared about, multiple stories I want to check back into. So maybe I might, if I don't review Raw, maybe when I review SmackDown, I'll kind of do like the first week of Triple H's WWE run and stuff like that. So we'll see. It's just that I knew the Batgirl thing when that happened. I knew, okay, I'm going to talk about that for an hour, and we did. That was the whole story, because it was a big one. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll be talking about this again on Thursday at 8:15 with the boys. There'll be Dylan, Kirklin, and Taylor. I think all of them are on that newscast. But obviously, there's going to be more news that comes out from Batgirl, so we'll talk about that. We'll get their reactions, and we'll probably definitely talk about it just being rebooted in general, because I think now that's a huge talking point in conversation. So thank you to everyone live chat. That was lots of fun, and thank you for updates of people, because I'm talking. Usually I can throw to somebody and look at my notes and do stuff, but you guys support me in these. So this is, what a week. 2 episodes in. What the fuck's going to break tomorrow now? Travis told you, but wouldn't have it another way, because it's been a fun time doing this, and already 2 days in, got some big topics, but yeah, promise you it'll not be boring.